Okay, as an afterword, remember when I was telling you in the introduction that Jung recounts this story of being in Freud's house, and they're having this conversation, and they have these really in-depth conversations, and they get super focused, and Freud says something to Jung, and Jung gets this burning sensation in his solar plex, and there's just so much energy. And there were times when he would really have to hold himself back from making comments because he would see gaps in Freud's thinking, but he felt kind of intellectually inferior at that point. He was, a lot younger and that sort of thing, and he was Freud. But all of a sudden, he was feeling this intense energy, and I believe it was in another room behind Freud's study. All of a sudden, there was this explosion. There was this big cacophony of sound. And Freud was very jolted, and Jung sat there for a moment, and then he said, "It's going to happen again." And Freud looked at him uncomfortably, and then it did happen again. So this is sort of the basis of the difference between Freud and Jung. They never talked about this incident again because for Jung, those liminal spaces where things like this could happen, and of course he's the person that developed the idea of synchronicity, this was very real, and this was a way that the natural world communicated with us. But for Freud, who was very intellectually based, that was just absolute nonsense. So, and he chided Jung many, many years later about that aspect of his belief. But when I first made these videos for this book, I did a long series of each chapter explaining how I would think someone in a teaching situation or in a therapy situation would be helped if I explained certain things about this book. And I had 9 videos in total, and I started to upload them to my computer, and I discovered there was no sound on any of them. And I'm a person who's made a lot of films. I've been through film school. I know how to use audio equipment. This has never happened to me before, and it happened. And as I recounted, I sobbed a lot. But then it hit me. And this is one of the things that has become so materialized for me here in Peru, where I've been living for the last 10 months. This idea on a quantum level of how energy is exchanged from what we think is the material body, and that's, what is it, 0.0100 point percentage that's actually materialized here, like when I was growing up, and it was the photon and the neutron, the electron and the atom, and we thought that was it. Then they got subatomic, and now we know it goes way beyond that. This is what I think is happening with Jung's recount of this story, and this is how he portrays it, that there's this whole other level of energy that is communicating with us and through us, and this is why his work is so profoundly helpful with incest, because an area of being often is disrupted and disengages from the child. And what it affords and allows the adult is an ability to explore from this liminal space. So, in conclusion, what I want to say, as you have read this book, I hope that it will make you more comfortable with not only looking at the liminal spaces, and there are lots of other works in my bibliography that you can go to, but also what became very apparent to me was that at a particular point of dealing with that, what they call in Peru, what the shamans call susto, or that what we call PTSD or trauma, what was very important for that feeling of wholeness that I wanted to have was to bring these spaces together. So that's what creativity does for a lot of people, and that's what this book certainly did for me. And I hope that you are going to find it helpful in your work, and that, you know, the idea of working on a quantum level with energy and looking at shamanic modalities for healing will be something that you'll be enticed to explore, whether it's in the realm of incest or just having your creativity explode, much the way Jung's energy apparently was converted into the material realm. Our ideas can be converted into the material realm. In fact, this chair, I'm sitting up on top of a chair, and this desk and everything that I can see, and the fact that you can see me, that's what this is. So on a quantum level, now that I've worked decades with this idea of incest, I have to say, I even consider it a gift now. And I don't say that lightly. It was very disruptive in my life, and if you've read the book, you know that. But I would not have experienced the level of relationship that I now have. I grew up in nature, so I developed a relationship with the natural world, but then it was exorcised from my consciousness when I became involved in culture. And now, having worked through this issue of the incest taboo, both intellectually and etherically, I can say that it's one of the most powerful things that ever happened to me, this experience, embracing it and working through it. I hope you have the same wonderful journey of being able to recapitulate what is your energy and bringing it back into your life, whether it's through the incest taboo, your creativity, or another modality. Thank you so much for being here.